All right, guys, here we are. Another episode of BeanTown, Banter, and Bullshit. Big one tonight. Well, let's see. We got Kev, you're muted.
Okay, unmute.
He's on now. We're here with Kevin Hope tonight. Google that name if you haven't heard about it. I mean, this guy is boxing. He's the 508. He's South High. That's most important this week. Kevin, welcome to the show. We're gonna get into the accolades after. Thank you for coming on tonight. We're here for positivity, man. I guess all along, my man Dave has been telling me you're the guy to talk to. Shout out to our sponsors for making this even happen. We got 4 Seasons Nutrition, who sponsors TG Castro. She was there with us at the last show. We're gonna throw Emily Interiors. I don't know if you know Joe Cufsis, Len Gangle. Joe's a good friend of mine from childhood. Took care of me with a sponsorship. We made us help TG. It's all linked together. You know, we're building a big circle here. So, Kevin Hope, welcome to the show. It was fantastic to meet you in Framingham. I really got what I wish for. I wish I had more time to talk to you then, and I'm getting it right now, and I appreciate that. So how do I even introduce you? Is it Lieutenant of the State Police retired? Is it boxer? Is it referee? You have too much. Your file is too big.
It's like the old saying, call me anything you want, just don't call me late for dinner.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Love it. Phenomenal, man. So you were born and raised in Worcester.
Yes. Yep. I'm from the city a little bit, but I consider Columbus Park my home.
I knew that was coming, man. I'm on question 3 and I didn't even get it out. I love it, man. I love it. Davis told me everybody has great words about you, man. I've met about 100 people that know you, and that's in a short time, you know? So South High, you were telling me, we were talking earlier, that you didn't start there.
No, we were living in Columbus Park, and then we moved up to Elm Street for a couple of years. And during that time, I was going to East Middle, and then I had the option to either stay at East Middle or go someplace else. I actually did all 3 years there, and then I started at Doherty. Spent a semester at Doherty, and then I left and went back to South, or actually kind of came home is what I saw it as.
I love that.
Back in the park.
Nice. So you played football, was it all 4 years or?
No, I just played 2. I played a year at East Middle, was technically freshman football. And you got to remember, I was all 5'4", 105 pounds back then.
Jeez.
So I was kind of a human tackling dummy in a way. I got banged around a lot. Gained 40 pounds and 5 inches the next year. And when I went to Doherty, and I played at Doherty for that year, and then when I came to South, I wasn't feeling it, and I decided not to play. I should have played, but I didn't. I ran cross country instead.
But never a bad decision at all. When did boxing come into your life?
You know, I always had it in the back of my head that I wanted to box. When I was back in the day when I used to go to the boys club on Ionic Ave, I went into the boxing room one day and put the gloves on, and I had a really good sparring session. They let me jump right in and spar with somebody. I went back the next week and basically felt like I got set up because I got tuned up. And, it kind of took the taste out of my mouth a little bit, but I just had other things going on. I was a baseball player and wanted to do other things, and kind of got away from it. And then when I was in the Army, I spent a total of 22 years in the Army. I'm one of those people that just doesn't go away. Couple of years on active duty, joined the Guard when I got off active duty, and ended up staying in for another 19 years on top of it. So I retired from that too. While I was there, I started to play with it again, but then there wasn't an organized program when I was in Germany. So I didn't get involved. And then again, it just kind of sat in the background. When I got on the state police, they had a team. They've actually had a team since 1976, started by Bob Benoit. And
Another name him and your name, Dave. He badges me, man, one after another. You got to get these guys. And even when I talked to Tony Piscata, he even mentioned his name. Those guys, Bob Benoit. I don't know him, but he's more than welcome.
If you want some stories, he can tell you some stories.
That's what I'm hearing.
He'll need a little help with the technology, but he can, he could really enlighten you about a lot of stuff. He knows the history better than I do. But anyway, back to your question. While I was on the state police, Bob was finishing up. He was retiring from the team after his 100th show. And I said to myself, I better get on and try to do at least one show in case the team goes away. So I did. I jumped on. I actually fought a friend of mine in a friendly grudge match. And
I've had him.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, we were working together. We were working on the same shift in the same barracks and everything. And we banged each other around. We had fun. And then I stuck with it, and I just didn't go away. And then I became part of the team, and I was helped running the team for a number of years. And then I just plugged away and just kept on fighting whenever the chance gave me, whenever I had the chance, I should say.
So how many total did you have under your belt?
You would mention that to me. I think around 30. I think I had 26 for the state police, and then I had a couple more because I was training out of Uptown and Southbridge. I know I had a couple more for Dave out of there. So I think it's around 30.
So what was the record?
Probably, if it was 30 fights, it was probably around 18 and 12. I was a little over 500. Your typical journeyman.
Yeah.
I came in. I always had fun. I was that clown that would take a fight on 2 days' notice. Get a call. Hey, can you fight in New York City Thursday night? This is a Tuesday. It's like, yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, that's another story I'll tell you along the way. That was interesting. So I just kind of stuck with it. And while I was doing that, while I was training and working out, that's when I got into officiating. We had a hole in the state police. We needed a referee. I gave it a shot. Actually liked it. I was doing it for quite a while. And the Nick Manzello, another Worcester person,
Legend.
He was a commissioner of the athletic commission or the boxing commission at the time. And he pulled me aside and asked me if I would consider turning pro. And so I did. And that was in 2005. I turned pro as a pro referee. And the rest is history. I've just been doing it ever since, along with the amateurs as well.
Now, you had mentioned at the show you've done amateurs. What's the connection to the Olympics? I know you.
I've had the opportunity to travel a little bit, and I became part of the. It's referred to as AIBA, AIBA. It's if I can say it in French, it's the Association International of Boxing, Amateur Boxing. So it's the amateur boxing for international events. In order to become an AIBA official, you have to be tested, and there's a couple different levels of testing. I tested the first time in Chattanooga, Tennessee, to get a star. They call it a 1-star. A couple years later, I had the chance to go to Frankfurt, Germany, actually Frankfurt on Oder, which is in the old East Germany, right outside of Berlin. And I got my 2nd star. And then I got my 3rd star back in May in Dubai. I had the chance to go there, work the Asian championships, and I picked up the 3rd star. By picking up the 3rd star, I'm eligible to be an Olympic referee. If I can get there, it's really hard to get there.
Yeah. That's crazy. So is that the highest accolade you can go there with?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have you reffed any pro fights?
I've probably reffed around 250 or so.
What
maybe
is
a little.
The best one you've seen so far? The best fight you've seen in person in that ring?
Oh boy. There was a fight. It was actually 2 different fights the same night in Plymouth at the Plymouth Memorial Hall. This is a number of years ago. I can't remember the kid's name. There was a Russian fighter up from Clinton who actually ended up getting jammed up along the way. So he stopped fighting. He was a really good up and coming fighter. He was really good. I don't remember who he was fighting, but it was an all out brawl. There was about 3,000 people in the venue. You couldn't hear a thing because everybody was yelling, everybody was screaming, chants of USA, USA going, because it was a Russian fighter versus a USA fighter. What a great night. I mean, it was a great fight. 2 fights later, there's a kid by the name of Jason Pyers. They called him Schoolboy from Fall River. And Jason was a really good fighter, a really good up-and-comer. And he boxed a Mexican boxer. I don't remember the guy's name. And it was an 8-round fight. Somewhere around the 7th round, it kind of dawned on me, I think this is the best fight I ever worked. It was just a great fight, back and forth, really professional, really skilled and talented boxers. So it was a chess match on top of a war at the same time. That was a great show.
Funny that you mentioned that. Back in the day, I watched all the big heavyweight fights, you know what I mean? The pay-per-views, all the big fights, but I never really understood boxing. The chess game is what it's really about, man. That's what I totally overlooked, as a kid. I always, fighting is fighting, but as strategy, like you get to that high level, you got 2 guys that have the exact same skills. It
Yes.
comes down to that. It comes down to strategy in chess.
Yep. They're working their angles, they're working their punches, they're doing one thing to lead to another thing, work the body to make them drop their hands so they can go up top to the head. It's really good and it's almost like a choreographed dance. When you have 2 skilled boxers in there, the referee doesn't need to be there. He just needs to stay out of the way. And you don't need to be getting in the middle of things. You don't need to be interrupting them. Just let them fight. Yep.
And that, realized it's like a dance, man. It's like a choreographed dance. The greatest fight I've seen so far live is August 14th at the Palladium with the Riveras, Wilfredo and Carlos. I don't know if you've seen that one coming up. It's going to be huge.
I did see that it was coming up, and the interesting thing about that fight, I didn't go to that fight because I was working a pro show in Maine that night. And I didn't get out of Maine in time to come down. I tried to, but I just couldn't make it. But the interesting thing there is I refereed Wilfredo's first fight, his first pro fight. I refereed him a bunch of times as an amateur, and I've refereed Carlos a bunch of times as an amateur as well. So I know both guys. I've seen both guys fight before.
This week I had just messed around with a few videos, trying to put music on it, and I get these ideas that have come through my head. If you put the Rocky theme song soundtrack on that fight, that's what it was in my head watching that fight. It was just, amazing. The pictures you've seen from that fight, some of the videos. My man Dave took a good video from the mat. He was on the mat. Just a beautiful experience, honestly. And to have that coming back, I told them all along, just have all the negotiations off. Have that fight by itself, you're gonna sell it out, man. I'll tell you. That's how I felt after that night. But Hart, these 2 kids got it. I'll still call Wilfredo a kid, but it's awesome, man. I'll tell you. December 18th, Webster Town Hall. Everybody definitely get your tickets soon, because
that's a great venue. There's not a bad seat in the house. It's got the balcony seating.
So we have a mutual friend that I really didn't know how well, Tony Piscata, right? So now this just all linked in the last 10 minutes of my head. I've only been to the Webster Town Hall one other time in my life. I saw a wrestling event there, and I'm very good friends with Jay Piscata, Tony's son. He took off, somehow he got himself connected to Box, the coach from Shepherd Hill. Now, Jay is pretty much a model of Tony. If you're fighting with Jay Piscata, you've done something wrong, because he's a good dude. And you know what I mean? He's also really fucking tough. Sorry, my French. He's, and he's not the guy that fights, but if you put him in that situation. So he boxes with Shepherd Hill coach. It didn't even go, I think, 20 seconds, and the guy quit. Who
Yep.
was also on that card, Kevin Hope? Lyndon Byers. And
Yeah.
he actually, it was weird because I always tell this story. All me and my friends are in a circle and we're celebrating Jay and everything. And I don't know, I don't think Lyndon Byers did good that night, whoever he was boxing, but he was almost sitting by himself over like in the corner on the wall. And I was like,
Yep.
that's insane. Like, think of that situation, you know, and I don't think Jay ever boxed again after that, but that was the only other time I've been in the Webster Town Hall, and it all connects, you know.
Well, you know, the funny thing about Jay is he fought one time at Worcester State.
Yes.
As an alumni from Worcester State, from the baseball team, he boxed somebody from the football team.
Yep.
And I refereed that fight. And
Really?
Jay, oh yeah, he had to give up 80 pounds, if not
I was
more.
there. I was there at that fight.
Okay.
Yep,
I
I
was
was
the
there. That was all. That's crazy, and also a small world, man. I'll tell you. And I also, we did a charity wrestling event with my buddy Bobby Case at Worcester State. It was like all that same time frame. But you're right. Yeah, I want to say. I don't remember who Jay fought that time, but I remember he was way outweighed.
Oh yeah, he was a big kid, and I thought Jay took it to him. It was an exhibition. The boxing commission had called me and asked me to go there and referee to make sure nobody got hurt, because they had wrestling that night, and then they had boxing.
Yeah, it may have been the same night. That's insane. So did you have any interaction with Keith Bianchini?
With who?
Keith Bianchini? I know he had a couple pro fights, and he was at Worcester State around that same time.
Boy, I don't remember.
Yeah,
I don't remember. But yeah, you mentioned LB. Interesting story about him. When I was with the state police team, we did a show right after 9/11, and it was and we brought the New York team in to fight with us. And the money that we raised that night went to the New York Police Benevolence Association, you know, for the widows and orphans of the people that died in 9/11. And LB was supposed to do an exhibition with somebody, and I forget who it was that he was supposed to do it with, and it fell through at the last minute. Because now we're scrambling. We've already advertised him. He was on AAF at the time, and he was talking about the fight, so we had to put him on the card. And of course, then everybody turned and looked at me and said, well, maybe you can do it. And I wasn't 200 pounds at the time. I was close, but and I'm looking at him, and he's like 260. It's like, oh, my God, this guy's huge. And I'm like, well, if we got to do it, we got to do it. And then Sean Fitzgerald stood up and said, I'll do it. I'll step in. I'll do an exhibition with him.
No way.
You know, of course, the Irish Express came in, and instead of me fighting with LB, I refereed him and Sean. And it was pretty good. Opening instructions, you know, protect yourselves at all times. And then I said it very seriously. And LB, don't pull his shirt over his head. Okay. He was kind of in his zone. It's like, okay. And he came out, you know, he's this big, strong guy, and he was a brawler. And he came out and tried to push Sean around a little bit. And Sean showed him what a top middleweight was like at the time. And, you know, kind of put him back in his place, and it settled down, and they did a good exhibition together. You know, good, solid 3 rounds.
Where's that video?
Minutes.
Who's got a video of that?
You know what? Someplace I might have an archive of that. I'll have to find out if I do.
That would be phenomenal. I went through. I had Fitzy on the show, and I went through doing my homework trying to find his fights, and nowhere, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't see any of that, but I would love to. I think a lot of people would love to see that. That would be phenomenal. What a good dude. He's one of the nicest dudes I've ever met in my entire life, like legitimately. He checks in even, you know, after the show, you know. Great.
Oh, good guy.
Yeah. So Tony Piscata. Now we got a couple stories going back and forth this way. Tony, I'll tell you, we all got tight. Jay owned a bar called Enough Said, Mickey O'Neill's. It turned into Tony was always there helping him out. So we all got real close, you know. A few weeks ago, I'd seen him at Applebee's. It wasn't like a planned thing. And I'm sitting at the bar, and he's waiting for a couple of his buddies. Yeah, all military guys. And I ended up joining them, and I don't know how we get into talking about boxing and everything. And I said, hey, my buddy Dave said, introduced me to Kevin Hope, and he said, all you guys know each other. And he now look at my respect for Tony is on the level of my dad. Like that's you don't like there's it's not even there's no words. He looked me in my eye and said, Mike, I never seen this happen before. But he's like, and he made it very clear. He said, I didn't hear about this. I seen it with my own two eyes. He said that you were in a fight and the towel got thrown in somehow and that you threw it back and continued the fight. And he made it, he was very adamant to say, like, I've never seen that. And I saw it in my eyes. Like, it wasn't just a story or a rumor. So tell me about that.
Well, I'll tell you about that fight. That was on, I think it was the first card Rivera's did in this new iteration, because they did a couple shows a number of years ago. But when they started back at the Palladium, they did a show, and they had a kid on the card that night, Ralph Johnson, who's a Worcester kid.
I know Ralph, yeah.
Ralph, okay, so Ralph, he was an MMA fighter. He was an amateur boxer. He was a pro boxer. He real awkward style. Kind of an interesting guy, to say the least.
Yeah.
But and he had, I saw him box one time where he tried to punch the referee. He pushed the referee and tried to punch him because he stopped the fight. But because I knew Ralph for so long, he was always very respectful with me. Never gave me a hard time. That particular night, when I was giving him his instructions, checking his equipment real quick, I just told him, Ralph, we're both Worcester kids. I don't want any problems tonight. No, sir, no problem. Whatever problem with me. So now fast forward to the fight, he was outclassed. He was in against a guy that, was a skill level above him, but he was all heart, all game, trying to get into it. And he got knocked down. I gave him an 8 count. He got back up again. He got knocked down again. And when he got knocked down the second time, the towel came in and he looked at me and said, oh, bullshit. Don't let him stop the fight. Let me fight. Like, okay. And I kicked the towel out of the ring and I let him continue to fight. He got knocked down again, and then I stopped it, but he was okay with that. He was just all testosterone and all heart, and he was trying to do the best he could. It just that night, it wasn't enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Ralph he was interested. I know he had a bunch of MMA fights. I know that. I don't know how much further he went with that, but.
Yeah, I don't know either.
So
but now, let's talk about Tony real quick.
Yep.
I actually coached Tony his first amateur fight, his first real fight, I should say. Give you some background. Tony and I went to South together. We're in the same class together, and we knew each other. What Tony doesn't remember, and I didn't remember it really until today when I was thinking about coming on the show. And when I was playing at Doherty, obviously Tony was playing at South. And back at that time, he was referred to as a monster back. And he was a linebacker that, if Tony, if you're on here, I'm sorry if I'm embarrassing you, brother. But he was one of those guys who hit like a truck. I mean, you got hit by Tony, you were getting hit by a truck. Oh, and he sacked our quarterback like 2-3 times. And he kept disrupting the plays because he was coming right over the top every time. And the coach looked at me and said, I need you to stop him. It's like, how the hell am I? I said, Coach, how am I going to stop him? You just stand there, let him hit you. So they put me in as a fullback just for a blocking one play, and Tony came over the top and he sent me flying, and rang my bell. And I didn't really think of it until, like I said, until today. But fast forward, 2 weeks later, after at the end of that game, I ended up at South. That's when I transferred back to South, and end of graduation, Tony and I went our different ways. He went in the military. I went in the military a short time after him. I mentioned before that when I got out of the Army, I joined the Army Guard.
Yeah.
And I stayed in the Guard. And I said, well, I'll just stay until I'm not having fun anymore. And like I said, I stayed another 19 years. I guess I had more fun than I was supposed to. We were starting a new company down in Southbridge. It was a military police company. And so the recruiters had some recruiters that were kind of chomping at the bit to try to start filling up the company and getting their numbers and everything. And I get a message from a guy from a Sergeant Piscata. And I think it's like, I wonder if this is Tony. So I called him back and I said, hey, you're South High kid? And he said, oh yeah. I said, well, then I told him who I was, because he only had my my rank and my name. He didn't have my first name. And when I told him who I was, it gave us the opportunity to talk again. I'll tell you what, he was a phenomenal recruiter. We filled that company up like you couldn't believe. He did a great job. So during that time, we started a National Guard boxing team, and they probably had maybe 5 or 6 shows that they participated in. And I talked Tony into fighting. And I said, what do you think? You should fight. And, he wanted to put on a show, and he wanted to support a cause. It was on the state police card, so all the money was going to charity and that sort of thing. And we were down in Waltham, and I was working his corner, and I'm talking to him before the fight. And, obviously he had the pre-fight jitters, and he kind of said to me, I don't think I trained enough. I said, listen, all you have to do is you're really strong and you're in really good shape. Box this guy. All you have to do is box him the first round. Let's see what he has. And then the beginning of the second round, then you can pick up the pace a little bit. He said, okay, yep, good idea. The opening bell rings. Tony goes right out to the middle of the ring. Bang. He starts throwing punches like there's no punches left to be thrown. And he knocked the guy out in about 18 seconds. And that was Tony's first fight.
Eerily similar to Jay's. I'm telling you.
Yep.
Eerily similar, man. The heart on those guys is incredible. But I respect them both the same too. Even Jay is my good friend, It's like, so.
Yeah.
Amazing, man. It's a very small world. It's a very, very small world. So let's do this. I know Dave is probably chomping at the bit here to come on. I know. Where is he?
I can't be seen yet.
Wait. And there he is. Yeah, this guy is a superstar right here of this show.
I don't know about that.
He jumped in on the Rivera conversation a few weeks ago.
So
Dave.
thank God Shamrock Sports got me back into this boxing thing that I've loved my whole life. And you got Mr. Boxing on, because he is Mr. Boxing. There's no credible question. Kev, thanks for coming through. Do you still see Marty Lynch?
I don't see him that much, but I do talk to him mostly by messenger. He's good friends with my brother. And
Did he?
Go
ahead.
We reconnected with Marty. My brother had kind of lost contact with him. And then when Dennis Debo passed away, we went to the funeral and Marty was there and they reconnected. So that's how we reconnected back in again.
He had a good amateur record. I thought he stayed in it late, didn't he? Like to his 50s.
He started late, and he's a tough kid. Tough.
No doubt.
Marty especially.
Funny story about you is you're I won't say how much older, but a little bit. And I remember when you first became a state trooper. Now back then, every state trooper was 6'2", 6'4". They were huge. I mean, and no one ever thought you'd become a state trooper because you weren't big enough. And you show up. I mean, I will never forget. You show up. I think it was like the first week you show up in the neighborhood, and 5'10", I think the tops, wasn't it?
Yep, 5'10".
And back then, you didn't. How many? There wasn't many 5'10" state troopers.
No, there was a handful. The actual limit at the time when I first started was 5'9". You had to be a minimum of 5'9", but usually they weeded out the smaller guys.
Yeah. So everyone was shocked that you were, And then look where you are today, in Columbus Park, man. No doubt. And I definitely thank you for coming on the show. Look forward to going to the show coming up with you, and I'm on board all the way.
Nice.
All the way with you. I'm retired, so whenever you want me, I've got Shamrock Sports right there.
You know it. So when did you get into the State Police Cub? I'm super interested about that.
1985. I got out of high school in 77, and I waited until I was one of those kids that was born in December. So I was only 17 when we graduated high school. I thought I wanted to be a cop. And so I wanted to try out the military to get the experience, but you had to be 18 to be a military policeman. So I had to wait 6 months. And actually I waited a couple months longer because I was going on a ski trip to New Hampshire, and I didn't want to give up that ski trip. And ironically, that ski trip was, we were in New Hampshire skiing when the blizzard of 78 hit, and we got snowed in up in Mount Washington. But so when I got out of the Army in 81, I ended up working in the prison system for 4 years, working in the state prison. And then from there, I was able to transfer over to the state police in 85. And then I retired in 2012.
And you retired as a lieutenant.
Yes. Yep.
Not giving up your age. How you were what, like 24 or something like that? 25?
25. Yep.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. I was a little younger.
Yeah, a couple of years.
A little.
So
younger.
yeah, thank you for coming on, Kevin. I'm definitely looking forward to going. Oh, I am boxing now. And wherever it is, I am.
You know, your problem is because I show up at a lot of places.
And I'll be seeing you because Shamrock Sports going to be there. That's for damn sure.
We got one coming up here. So tell me about the show this weekend coming up, Kev.
So we have a show this weekend, November 6th. It's at the Southbridge Community Center, which is the old Southbridge Armory, the National Guard Armory on Chestnut Street. Showtime 6 o'clock. Right now, I'm making the matches. Right now, I believe I have 21 bouts scheduled.
Wow.
There'll be a couple, I'll lose a couple between now and then. Like last night, I lost 5. I had a coach coming up from DC with 5 kids, and he canceled last night. So I lost 5 bouts, but it's okay. We'll have, if we have a minimum, if we have 12 bouts, I'm going to be high-fiving myself. If we have more than that, I'm going to be sitting back and just relaxing because it's going to be a great night.
Shamrock Sports, be there all night. Shamrock Sports, be there all night. That's right. That's right.
No doubt.
No, the show's being put on by Uptown Boxing. So it's a combination. The show's a combination for Uptown Boxing and the Southbridge Veterans Council.
Nice.
They're going to split the money. The Veterans Council is building a memorial in Southbridge, and they're giving them a chance to help raise some money for it.
Nice.
So it's a great cause. Great cause, and it's a good. It's going to be a good night of boxing.
That's phenomenal, man. Now, Wilfredo, is he going to be there?
I'm sure he'll be there. He'll make a guest appearance. He boxed at the Armory a number of times, and that's his hometown. He doesn't live too far from there, so I'm sure he'll be there.
Wilfredo is Southbridge. Wilfredo is Southbridge. You know what's crazy is this fight, number 2, got closer to his hometown, and he had the entire Palladium that night. So I can only imagine it's going to be a little more fierce, And I don't see Kyle as the kid that's going to be scared. I think he actually looks forward to it. And in the podcast that we had them all on, I almost think that drove that kid. It was Wilfredo's crowd, and that kid showed up.
You didn't need a referee. That fight. Watch it. It was unbelievable. Just like Ken said, you don't need a referee when it's a good fight. And I said all during that fight, you don't need a referee. It was unbelievable.
Yep.
Kev said it perfect. A perfect fight. That was the perfect fight. Kev said it. A good referee, you don't need him.
Yep. I get it.
I mentioned that I refereed his first fight, his first pro fight, and as well as some of his amateur fights. His first pro fight was the same thing. It was a war. And he actually boxed the guy that had more experience than him, and just back and forth. The guy actually, he had the guy in serious trouble twice on the ropes, and the bell rang each time.
Yep.
So the guy wasn't down, he wasn't out or anything, but he was in trouble. And then Wilfredo came back after the minute and started all over again.
Unreal, man. Both of those dudes. So, Dave, I'm going to put you in the background for a sec. We're going to...
Gotcha.
I got... let me just try to get my friend on here. Tiff, can you hear us?
I can.
Oh, yeah. So let me try to. Oh, I gotta give you the option. Oh wait, no. Kev, you can hear us too, right?
Yes.
I just gave you the video link again. All right, we're gonna shut this off. Stop video, and there he is. Kevin, I'd like to introduce you to my friend, Mr. Sousa, the goalie here we were talking about earlier. Tiff, you can come on. Yeah, we know you're there. So
There
to
it is.
introduce my man here, Tiff.
This is my son, Dante.
Um,
He's 14 years old.
now,
It looks kinda
October
thick for
saves.
14.
Want to show up and show us the sweatshirt that I like that. You got the thing for breast cancer going.
Nice.
Love it, my man. Love it. Congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
You bet you're on the right path. Kudos to your parental people here. You're on the right path. Listen to them. Keep the same heart you got going. Kevin O is here tonight. I don't know if you follow boxing at all, but it's all about fighting. He gave us a story about Lyndon Byers, pretty serious older Bruins guy. I know you're into the Bruins. So my father passed away from cancer. So it touches me. Your mother gave me the background. How did October Saves start?
So this lady who started it, she had breast cancer and she wanted to find a way for like people to help raise money for cancer awareness. So she started October Saves because her son was a goalie.
And you're a goalie.
Yep.
Now, what age did you start it at?
I started in 2017. So when I was
5 years.
11.
Yeah.
11. And how much have you raised since then?
17,000.
Oh, Dib, they went out. All right, yeah, you're back.
I'm right here.
$17,000.
Yeah.
Amazing. So that means how many saves have you made? Because that sounds like quite a bit.
Too many to count.
Too many to count. I love it. Love it. Love the mission, my man. Where are you playing right now?
I'm playing for Southshore Kings.
You guys keep going out. We're good.
I'm getting a phone call. I just told my son to go call my brother.
There you go. That's fine. That's fine. Where do you want to go from here with the organization?
I want to keep pushing.
Tell me
And
what the goal is. You got a deadline to meet, I think, or something, right? That's what we were talking about earlier.
the 11th, November 11th.
November 11th. And you need how much more?
Well, to be in first, I need $3,000 more.
All right. So we got 10 days to work on that. So anybody that's watching right now, we're going to post you a link with the show tonight. Guys, this is your chance to step up for Shamrock Sports. Put some money in. Let's get this man to his goal. Let's show Worcester. Let's show Worcester what we're about. I mean, I don't even. We're gonna post a little bio on you later too about what you've actually done, all these steps. But we're gonna get this done. We're gonna. I don't know why he's not in South, Tiff. I mean, I get it, but the kid's got the South heart. He's got, you know what I mean.
If I could have him in South, I'd have him in South too.
I get it all, man. But please, everybody, take the time, check out what this kid has done. Let's get this done. But I mean, we'll go live every night until it happens if we got it. So congratulations.
He wants to give you a little background on why he does it, Mike.
Huh?
He wants to give you a little background on why he actually does it.
I'd love to hear it.
All right. I do October Saves because in 2017, my aunt was diagnosed with leukemia.
Okay.
So I started trying to raise money, and then she passed in 2018. So I carried on what she did the best, which was care for others, and I kept going with October Saves.
Good shit. I love it.
Yep.
Hold up.
Yeah. What do you say?
Oh,
There you go.
That's
my
why we do.
pleasure.
Yeah, that's why we do it. It's all about the awareness. It's not even about a first place or a second place. It really has nothing to do with that. At this point, it's really about really getting the most amount of awareness that we can. You know, every October, all these goalies, you know, they do what they love. They love to get in that crease. They love to get in the net. So at this point, it's a matter of, you know, really partnering with like what they love to do and creating awareness all at the same time. Lucky for us this year, Dante's with the new association, and the owner of the association pledged $1 a save. So that was 192 saves this month. And the owner of the association even pledged to donate and support Dante, which is huge.
Phenomenal. Phenomenal. We're gonna get this done. So that's amazing, man. 2.5
Thank you.
years. My dad. Means a lot. You get the heart, kid. Keep it up. We're gonna take a break here tonight, but we're definitely gonna have number 2. Kevin Hope, thank
sir.
you for coming on.
My pleasure. I have more stories to tell you, so I'll be glad to come back again.
It might be in 10 minutes, but we need a break.
Thank you, Kev. Appreciate it. See you soon, buddy.
All right, Dave, we'll talk to you.
Let's give
Love
up.
you
Let's
guys.
give some money up for this young lad. We can get him there.
I don't think it's gonna be hot after this one, man.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
All right,
guys.
thank you.